I am Kyle, and this is Orange Focus Media. And today we're going to be looking into why Bitcoin is not crypto. And you might think I'm crazy for saying that, but by the end of this video, I assure you that you will see why. And I just ask to please like and subscribe if you get something out of today's video. The perception most people have is that Bitcoin is one of the many cryptocurrencies out there, that Bitcoin is part of the crypto bucket. The reality is that Bitcoin is so much different than all of the other cryptocurrencies, and rather, all of the other cryptocurrencies are more so related to fiat than anything else, and that's what I'm going to show you in today's video. I have listed here below some of the key properties of money, some of the things you want to look for in something that is going to hold its value throughout time. And in today's video, we are going to point out some of the red flags of all of these other cryptocurrencies, other than proof of work, which I'm actually going to get into in my following video. And if you have any questions about what these mean, I would just take the time to Google them and research these definitions yourself. And so again, all of these cryptocurrencies I have listed below here, these are not money. They are cryptographic technologies at best. And I'm going to show you some of the red flags that a lot of these cryptocurrencies have. First, looking at Tether. Tether is not decentralized or very liquid. And so I took these screenshots off of Tether's actual website. And Tether has a proactive wallet freezing policy. So Tether voluntarily freezes the wallets of individuals associated with the list. And when they say list, they mean a list in some four-letter agency. And monitor USDT transactions across multiple blockchains for suspicious or high-risk activity. Tether's surveillance tools generate actionable leads for law enforcement, resulting in wallet freezes and potential reissuances, which I wouldn't know how they do these reissuances, but that's also a red flag. Tether has helped authorities in Israel and Ukraine identify and freeze 470 addresses, totaling in approximately $95 million US. Now, I don't really care which side of these, Israel-Ukraine topics that you side with. The problem here is that you have a central authority who can freeze your money at any time. And so it's probably best to not hold a lot of money in something that can be frozen at any given point in time. Tether has had some security concerns in the past. So I pulled up here an article. Tether cryptocurrency operator reports $31 million raid. So at one point in 2017, $30 million worth of tokens were removed from the company's treasury wallets. And so this is really concerning because this is the company's own wallets and they had money taken from it. And so this is definitely a concern that they might not be the most secure of a company. Tether is backed by U.S. debt. So what Tether does is they buy treasury bills from the U.S. government and then they issue their crypto tokens on top of it. And so this actually creates a lot of demand for U.S. debt, and Tether as a company is actually the 7th largest buyer of the government's debt. And so I want to highlight a huge problem here. Tether is purchasing treasury bills. Now, the maturity date of a treasury bill is on average about 1 year. And so just hypothetically, if there was a bank run on Tether and everyone with their Tether coins wanted to go and redeem their coins for actual physical dollars, they actually couldn't do that at that time because they would have to wait for those treasury bills to reach maturity. Now, it's actually kind of comical to just think about this, right? They have a safe at their company of just treasury bills. And, they could easily have a safe of dollar bills and then you could easily redeem them. But so they're actually issuing a credit instrument on top of US debt. Now that we learned a little bit about why Tether has a lot of problems, let's look into everyone's favorite coin, the new hot thing, XRP. XRP is one of the most centralized currencies of all time. I want to highlight a couple things here. Ripple pilots a private ledger for central bank digital currencies. The CBDC platform will be powered by the same blockchain technology as Ripple's public XRP ledger. So Ripple is literally collaborating with central banks wanting to create a central bank digital currency. That's a huge concern. That's the entire reason cryptocurrency was created, was to not have a central bank. Let's look at Ripple's XRP's ownership structure. So Ripple Labs in escrow operations has 42% of the entire XRP supply sitting there, which I'll get into what that means in my proof of stake video. Chris Larsen, the founder of Ripple, has 2 to 5% of the total supply in his own wallet. And the top 100 wallets have 68% of the circulating supply. So right here, you can basically just assume that 50% of XRP is owned by insiders. So that's a huge concern. This could get dumped on the market at any time and absolutely collapse the value of XRP in any given second. So you're not going to want this as your way to store your money. Let's look at this a bit further. So of XRP's 100 billion tokens, 65 billion approximately are in circulating supply, 34 billion are escrowed, and 14 million have been burned. And so XRP, all of the coins were issued immediately. There's not even a true proof of stake concept here. Every time a XRP transaction is sent, 0.00001 XRP is burned and the supply gets depleted at an increasing rate as time goes on. And so that makes it very not fungible because you want to have a predictable supply over time. Now let's look into Ethereum and why it is not very decentralized or liquid. So 51% of all of the Ethereum out there is held by just 10 wallets. So in theory, these 10 people could come together, dump that 51% onto the market, and absolutely crash the price of Ethereum. And on top of this, looking at Ethereum's staking pools, which again I'll get into in another video, Coinbase and Lido control almost 50% of all of the power in the pools, so they could also band together and attack the network. Ethereum has had some security concerns happen over time. So Ethereum is much more than just a monetary network. It does smart contracts, DeFi. It has a very wide surface of attack. And so throughout time, and I won't get into all of these attacks specifically, over $800 million worth of ETH has been stolen. So one could argue it's not very secure or durable over time. Now let's look at Solana and why it has some of the most centralized distribution I've ever seen in a cryptocurrency. So let's look. The founders and team got 13% of the total supply. The Solana Foundation got 10%. Investors, the VCs, the people who invested early, they got 38%. And then the community and public sales got 39%. So that literally means 61% of all of the Solana out there is in the hands of insiders who could dump it on the market at any time, crash the price, and run away with all of the money that they just basically stole from the public. I also pulled this article from the early days of Solana. Second, we're reducing the supply in circulation. After speaking with Binance and our market maker, we plan to reduce the circulating supply by removing the 11 million from the market within the next 30 days. After removing the supply, we aim to burn the tokens. So right here is a huge problem, because if at any point in time some central authority has the ability to remove 11 million coins from the supply and burn them, that means it doesn't have a very predictable supply curve, which is one of the key aspects you want to look for in money. Solana is not known for being really reliable. I have a list here of all of the outages that have happened in the last 5 years, and you can see that there's quite a handful of them. And so that means if you're trying to send your money on the Solana network, you might not be able to for hours on end. And on top of that, there is security issues. There was an exploit in 2022 where $117 million was stolen across a lot of coins that run on Solana. Insider allocation is the focal problem with all of the cryptocurrencies out there, and why Bitcoin is so much different, because it's earned honestly through proof of work. XRP has nearly a 50% insider allocation, Ethereum 20%, and Solana 60% insider allocation. These numbers alone should scare you away, because at any point in time, that's how much the price can go down if the insiders dump. The reason a lot of these altcoins were created in the first place was because they wanted faster and cheaper transactions than Bitcoin, But that argument is dead, and that is because Bitcoin since has created the Lightning Network, which is a network that you can send transactions to each other instantaneously for cheap, sometimes even no fee at all, and it can handle up to 40 million transactions per second, which is far more than any of the other cryptocurrencies out there. So that argument is dead in that why expose yourself to all of that extra insider risk when you can just hold Bitcoin and not have that insider allocation risk? Thank you for watching me expose some of the biggest red flags in the other cryptocurrencies out there. And I'm going to continue this video by looking deeper into proof of stake and showing you guys why it is such a huge problem. I'm Kyle with Orange Focus Media, and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you got something out of today's video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.